Former President Donald Trump is in federal court in Florida today, trying to get his classified documents case tossed out.
Trump faces 32 counts of unlawfully retaining classified government records, and he's accused of taking them from the White House during the presidential transition. Trump has denied any wrongdoing.
CBS News campaign reporter and attorney Katrina Kaufman is watching the proceedings there in Florida. So, Katrina, talk to us about what happened during the first half of the hearing today.
Good to be with you today. So far, we've been hearing arguments about one of Trump's motions to dismiss, and it's based on his argument that the statute he's been charged with, the Espionage Act, is unconstitutionally vague. And the judge gave a lot of pushback on the defense team. One of the first things that they talked about for a while is whether this motion is premature to begin with. Another thing the judge seemed really concerned about was definitions of terms and how to really constitute this statute. And as well as when Trump actually lost the clearance to see these documents. Was it the day that after the presidency ended? How does that process work? So we've been hearing a lot of arguments about this. And then after the break, we're going to be talking about the Presidential Records Act.
And speak to us more about that, Katrina, because I understand this morning that there was questions around former President Trump showing these documents in Bedminster after the presidency and referring to them and saying, well, I really shouldn't show you this, but take a look. So this afternoon, what can we expect to come up in court?
True, and yes, the prosecution brought that up as evidence of the fact that Trump did basically admit awareness of the fact that he was no longer supposed to be in possession of these documents, that he no longer had the ability to deem them unclassified. But we're going to hear an argument from Trump's side that basically he just had complete authority to deem these documents personal. But Smith is going to contend that, Trump saying that just because I took these boxes from the White House and brought them to Mar-a-Lago, that doesn't make them personal documents. Personal documents from presidents are normally notes, diaries, personal thoughts, not classified documents containing very sensitive information pertaining to national security.
Well, how long before a decision is likely returned on today's hearing?
That's a great question. We've gotten no timeline on this, and we're also still waiting to hear about a trial date. Just a couple weeks ago, I was here. Judge Cannon was trying to figure out a timeline for this case, and Jack Smith, the special prosecutor, has asked for July. Trump's team has asked for after the election, or if they have to have it before August or September. I don't know that we'll hear about that today either, but we're waiting for a number of rulings from Judge Eileen Cannon after today.
And Katrina, we understand former President Trump was physically there in the courtroom today. What can you tell us about his general disposition and how he reacted as proceedings were underway?
I was watching him, and he was really sitting quite sternly watching these proceedings. I mean, there was a lot of pushback on his motion. He was just sort of hunched over, looking sternly towards the lawyers and towards the judge as this was going on. When he first entered the courtroom, he really just barreled to his seat past Jack Smith. And then on the way out, he did the same.
All right, Katrina Kaufman will continue to connect with you as this unfolds. Thanks for joining us.